We're getting a look at what happened inside the deliberation room as a jury decided to convict Harvey Weinstein of 2 felony sex crimes. Only on CBS this morning, we spoke to Drew, juror number 9 in the New York trial that lasted 5 weeks. He asked us not to use his last name, so we won't. Drew said that the Weinstein jury took the 5-day-long deliberation process very seriously. Coming to a unanimous verdict required a close look at the legal definition of the charges.
It wasn't rape in the first degree. There was no physical compulsion with the threat of bodily harm or death, but there was no consent given despite a lack of physical resistance, and a reasonable person should have known that there was no consent given in that instance.
Juror number 9, also known as Drew, says Jessica Mann's testimony was compelling enough for a guilty verdict of third-degree rape, but not enough to convict Harvey Weinstein of the most serious charges he was facing. Mann testified that Weinstein sexually assaulted her several times during their years-long on- and off-again relationship. Her testimony was very emotional. How did that affect you?
On a personal level, it affected me very deeply. But that's not what we were there to do. We were there to do a job and to interpret the law and make a decision based on evidence and testimony.
The testimony that women can be sexually assaulted but still maintain contact with their attacker, that didn't factor into your decision at all?
In the earlier parts of the deliberation, there was huge discourse about things of that nature.
I ask that because so many people have trouble understanding that. Did that factor into your decision-making process?
The decision-making, no. It's an alleged incident, not kind of this whole canvas of relationship. It's, husbands can rape their wives, and it's a complicated issue for sure, but it was our contention that it's one incident.
3 of the 5 charges stemmed from Mann's accusations. The other 2 focused on Miriam Haley, a former production assistant who testified Weinstein sexually assaulted her at his apartment in 2006. Mann and Haley both took the stand after Sopranos actress Annabella Sciorra testified, as the prosecution tried to show a pattern of behavior to the jury. One of the charges was predatory sexual
Sure.
acts, and he was found not guilty on that.
And the supporting testimony of Annabella Sciorra, compelling in and of itself, but these are serious allegations, and that's a very high burden that the prosecution took upon itself in bringing these charges. It's 27 years ago, and in this country, you and I and even Harvey Weinstein are innocent until proven beyond a reasonable doubt of the opposite.
Did it influence you one way or the other that Harvey Weinstein did not take the stand?
I wanted him to. And I could hypothesize as to the whys that he didn't, that he could lose kind of his shield of representation once he goes up there.
Did that influence your decision-making, that he did or did not take the stand?
No, because the only thing that influenced mine and our collective decision-making was what we had in front of us.
Yeah. Last Friday, jurors sent a note to the judge asking if they could be split on some counts, but unanimous on others. Drew explained the jury was simply looking for clarification. But outside the court, he said it was mistaken as a sign that a verdict was imminent.
Well, maybe that's our fault for the syntax of the note, but I know now that people kind of deduce that maybe he was guilty somewhere along the line, and I'll tell you, I was sick about it because he's a human being, and he's going home that night and knowing that he's walking into court Monday morning and potentially not leaving. Regardless of what any other human does to any other human, for me to affect another person like that really took a toll on me.
Mm-hmm. His defense team has already made it clear they're going to appeal this verdict. Do you think Harvey Weinstein should go to jail?
That's not for me to say.
Okay, you're not going to be involved in the sentencing, but you do have an opinion about
I could say that
whether you think
a man of his age and of his current health, general population at Rikers sounds like a pretty dangerous place. That's really all I could say about that.
So, there's been a lot of speculation about what was the message the jury was trying to send. What is the message, Drew, the jury was trying to send?
There is no message. We were there to do a job, to make a decision based on the information that was presented to us, and we have absolutely no stance or voice or opinion as to any type of larger movement.
That didn't factor into your decision at all?
Zero.
Very
He was so impressive. I can't stress this enough. He praised both the prosecution and the defense. He thought they both put on a very strong case, depending on the side that they were representing. He did say that the jurors were very turned off when the prosecution introduced that nude picture of Harvey Weinstein.
Yeah.
He said, we've all seen Mr. Weinstein. None of us felt we needed to see him nude. They were very turned off by that and didn't think that that helped the case. But other than that, he thought that both sides put on a very, very strong case.
Such incredible discipline.
He is. I mean, just think, he's from New Jersey. He doesn't want us to talk about, his life and what he does. But to have never been put in that position before and to come together and to do what they did.
I'm glad their goal was not to send a message.
Yes.
But they sent one at the same time.
But they weren't trying to, and he's emphasizing that very emphatically. We were not trying to send a message. We were doing our jobs, and they did.